Okay. I'm just going to check it out in Facebook.
I can check it on YouTube.
Yeah. See if it's functioning. Okay, I see it. Yeah.
I see
Okay.
it too. Okay.
All right, it's working. The audio is working, so perfect. Hello, everyone. Here together with Kastalia and we're
Kastalia.
just Kastalia. No, that's good. Please correct me. And yeah, I just wanted what we met in, was it April? In
Yeah.
Wisconsin Dells there at I was doing readings at a fair and we had just met and you really impressed me with your channeling ability and your ability to connect with your own guides and I was just like, wow, this is really cool. And especially someone else that's also fairly young too.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, wow, that's really impressive. So yeah, is there anything just to start off that you'd like to share?
I don't know. I can't think of anything. I think that I was also like very caught off guard with you when like you clearly identified my guide. I was like,
Oh,
okay, if I'm gonna channel like for anyone, it's someone who can like clearly see. So it's a sense of like I feel comfortable
I
channeling
like that.
because like it is a weird thing to do at first to like fully go full trance channeling in front of somebody because you never
Oh
know
yeah,
what they're thinking.
totally. Like it's very, very much like I guess a surrender to kind of what ends up coming through, right? And it's uh yeah, like it's for me I feel like, and I don't even do the trance channeling as much, which I feel like is another step further, but it's a vulnerable state to kind of put yourself in when you're channeling or giving a reading for someone else. So I felt like you just like totally went for it and was like letting
That
her
was
rip.
only my second time doing it to another like person other than my mom because earlier that day I did it for a lady and then like maybe an hour later I did it for you. So that was only my second time ever. And I just started that. So yeah.
That
I
is so cool.
mhm.
That makes that even more impressive. But yeah, let's just I think we should introduce you a little further and kind of what you do. So like I do things where I connect with spirit guides and whatnot, but you also connect with have your own connection with, would you call them guides?
So in the Elfian realm there is a domain of guides
Okay.
of spirit guides that we all have. So I connect to mine. I don't, and the elder of that domain has communicated this to me. I don't have that like ability to channel somebody else's guide or like be able to like only through the elder. So the elder of that domain is like a guide and
Okay.
he'll come through and there are other kind of like levels of like ascension levels within that domain of guides and so the visitors and travelers I can channel them through and they come through and they also like teach me a lot of things. So that domain is really the one that I would consider being guides and then I have my own guide who works with me and I work with him. He has a divine masculine energy one-on-one a lot. There are 7 domains total in the realm. And I would say that they all play a guide role in some way or another, but mainly
Sure.
the one that their purpose is to guide us.
So they kind of have specific roles or areas that they specialize in.
Yes.
So tell us more like about like the like what is, because you said they're like the Elfian realms. Like what is the Elfian realms? Like who and in these and how did you start doing this, or how did this start for you?
I'll start with how it started and then explain what they are
Yeah.
because how I started was so my mom is an angel Reiki master and also a Reiki master and a healer of spirit. So when the pandemic happened, we were kind of like very isolated and it gave an opportunity where like every day, starting from the summer solstice to the winter solstice, every single day I was going into Reiki. And it started off very weird at first. Like I would like laugh and giggle and be like, this is weird. But after a while, I got very used to it once the ego quieted enough for me to hear my authentic self. And I would go into like different types of trance states. And it wasn't until I think late August, early September, where after a session, I had a dream where I saw very clearly the face of my Elfian traveler guide. So I drew it out and I was looking at it like, I don't know who this man is. It looks like a man, but it's not a man. So when I went into Reiki, I reconnected with my guide. And I remember in that moment, I was like, I felt like it, they call like an eternal friendship is what they call it. And I like felt it. And he said, I'm an elf. And I was like, you're an elf. And he explained to me, I was like, you're too tall to be an elf. You're wearing a suit. What's going on? He was like, okay, let's calm down. And I remember like in the Reiki, like I felt like this like pressure on my head, like kind of calming the voice of like the ego trying to like come in and like silence that whole thing. And he explained they're the beings of the flower of inspiration, the eternal loving flower of inspiration's native ambers. That's what they are, Elfian Realm. And they used to be called the Yagamas. That was their name. And that you can find that in, if you look at the names of, if you ever like meet your Elfian traveler guide, they typically have this Y. Like what, and they say that names for them, each letter symbolizes something that describes their soul. And the Y for the Elfian traveler guides, and every single one of their names is for Yagama, because that domain is one of the oldest ones. So once I started working with him and they work with ascension mainly and help you along your path of ascension and development. He started working with me, and by sometime into like early 2021, I was delivered the message that I should start to try and communicate and connect to the other elves, because I started to ask him. I was like, well, what is an elf? What do you guys do? He said there are 7 domains. There's the healer, the earth elemental domain, the cosmic elemental domain, the animal healer domain, the no man joybringer domain, the Elfian traveler guide domain, and the warrior domain. And I was very like, okay, what does this all mean? Because he had told me before, I have a warrior spirit. So I was like, what is this warrior domain? What does that mean for elves? What is healer, animal healer? Do they help us? Like I had so many questions.
Yeah,
And
sure.
he was like, okay, he started to like teach me what he knew, but they're very honest. Elves are very honest. So when he knew he couldn't explain something to me, that's when some of the other elves started to step forward and introduce themselves and what they do. And I met all of the elders. But I realized that when I was younger, I started to connect to them at a young age. When I came to the physical form, when we enter the physical form, have a joybringer elf with us, helping us kind of get used to it. We have a healer elf with us, helping us like adjust to the physical form on a soul level. And we have our traveler guide. For me, I had the elder of the no man joybringer domain and the elder of the healer domain. These elder spirits, not like a like just an elf in the domain that's helping me. Like I had the elders coming through for me at a young age because I was supposed to be their communicator. Those were the elders one-on-one when I was like a little kid. I have very vague memories of it because I suppressed the ability so much that I thought it was just an act of imagination. But certain details and certain things, like at that young of an age, how could I have imagined it? How could I have like detailed and say he was wearing like the suit and a top hat? I didn't know what a top hat was at 1 year old. Like, how did I know that? The only explanation is that this is real. And then, yeah, I learned all about them. They work to spread inspiration, also positivity and joy. And throughout, they've evolved as a realm so much as a result of how we've evolved as human souls. It's a big, big thing. They work with Gaia, the angelic energy of Gaia that works with the earth. They help to heal it, to take care of it, to help us understand what is on like the polarity line. There are these sections: the positive polarity, this like gray area, kind of like the 3D realm, and then like the negative polarity. And that helps me understand all of that. They really all helped me learn all of this. And even in the book, it wasn't me. I was channeling them. Like I read it really for the first time when I was going through and making sure there weren't any spelling errors or anything.
Oh, sure.
They are like full, like they really come through as teachers, because a while ago that's what they used to be during the Atlantean age. They were teachers.
I want to ask you too, like as this, as they started coming through for you, how, like, what was that experience like, and like how was it for you, like trusting that that was happening, or like, because I'm guessing there's a process and like doubts coming up. Like, how were you able to trust it, and also like how were you getting, or how were you, or do you get like the messages from the Elfian realm, and like how is it that you pick up on them and receive them too?
I, at first, when I was in the session and I came out and I told my mom, because I told her about the man that I saw in my dream, and I said he's an elf. Saying that out loud, my ego was going crazy.
Yeah, right.
Wow, so you're like, whoa, what is this? But I started to like keep learning more. It was like they say once you reconnect with a soul that's like one of your main guides from another realm, you keep getting curious and curious, and you start to
Mm-hmm.
like redevelop that relationship on a soul level. So I had
Mm-hmm.
to keep doing that, and I had a lot of doubts at first. I'm not gonna lie,
I
I did,
don't.
because I was just starting off doing Reiki, and this was only a few years ago. I was 16 at the time. Like I was still like going through, like I separated myself from a lot of people. I was going through a lot of different things, like emotionally and everything, and my five body system was like I was healing this, healing that. So I had all of this like confusion, but it felt very safe.
Hmm.
It felt very safe. Their energy felt very safe, and they were always bringing it back to the angelic realm, bringing it back to God. They were always bringing it back to the things that they knew made me feel safe and comfortable, so that I didn't feel as, what is this thing? Because actually, if you look at elf and you try and translate it in other languages, sometimes it translates to like demon or something. So that
Sure.
can be jarring to like, because your ego has this understanding. I had to
Right.
work on it for a while. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
fully ready to start to hear their story until I want to say August of last year, July of last year, so about a year ago. I started to hear their stories, not just
Hmm.
what they could teach me, but them as
Like their
individuals.
life stories, or
Yeah,
kind
their
of like
soul
their.
story, the story of their souls. They don't have egos or really a physical form unless they existed in the Atlantean age. So
Okay, that
their
was something I was gonna.
stories,
That was something I
yeah,
was gonna ask you too. Like, are they like physically incarnated somewhere, like on some other planet, or are they? I
they're
guess you
energetic.
answered that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really based on how their if their elder appeared in the physical form during the Atlantean age, their image will appear like their elder. So that's the source references that in the book. And also it has to do with the light of the flower of inspiration. They call planets like energetic meeting places. So when our
Hmm.
souls aren't in the physical form, energetically we are on another planet on here. That's where our star origins come from. Or sometimes we
Hmm.
come from like the sun, for example, and we go to another planet, and then we go from there to Earth, but we don't have a physical form. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
that journey. Some of them will appear like wearing clothing almost. That's what the guides look like. But if you look at them, they all look similar. They all dress similar from the domain. Their energy appears similar, but there's no like flesh and physical. And that was really hard for me to comprehend at first, because I was like,
Hmm.
where's your body? Like, are you just gonna manifest a body in front of me? Right after I started to like realize that it like, okay, this is an elf, I heard like running in the hallway, and I thought that my guide like manifested a physical form and was like running to my room. I was terrified. Like I was like, what is this? And then you realize, okay, you gotta move the miscommunications out of your frontal lobe and start to see the truth for what it is. So it took a process, it took some time. But
I bet. Hmm.
once the No Man Joybringer elder stepped forth and started communicating his story, I was able to finally release all the doubt.
So I want to ask you too, kind of with connecting with the elves and stuff, and like learning from them and stuff. Like, how is it? Like, what is that experience like for you when you're connecting with them? Like, do you like feel them a lot? Do you hear them? And then also, like, how do you What's it like for you as far as like trusting the answers you get, or like how does that work for you too?
Uh, so I always feel their presence. And
Hmm.
when I channel them, they kind of step through. It's like kind of like a body swap situation. Like they kind of come through and communicate. And I hear their voice in my head. They show me pictures and visuals. I can feel their energy. I pick up on whether they're divine masculine or divine feminine energy. And
Sure.
pick up on all of that, and I can feel it very clearly. If they're like, and I can feel them all right now, like just kind of like circling, like, oh, what's this? They love this. Like the biggest like thing for them is being able to express and communicate. And I feel that like that truth, that like wanting to come through. They're very eager. I
Mm,
feel them very happy, all of them. They're very funny. They can come
mm,
through kind of sarcastic, blunt, so
mm,
blunt. Your Elfian traveler guide, if you sit and like you work with them, they'll like be like very straight to the point, like most honest. They don't lie. Beings of light and love don't lie. They don't sugarcoat anything. They tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to
mhm.
hear. And that can be very hard, and that can make you be angry at them. And there were times where I was getting angry at them, like I don't want to hear what you have to say. And that was my ego getting upset.
Yeah, or if like maybe you weren't wanting to hear it, or if I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
not, part of you wasn't like ready to
but
hear it or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Hmm.
They're very fun, and they're the biggest way that you can like give thanks to them, or like show that you appreciate them, is just continue to connect to them and do their work. But they really like it when you like share and inspire people. They
Mm,
want to spread inspiration. So if you are spreading and inspiring other people, and you're spreading their message and what they represent and their truth, and clearing miscommunication and being a communicator of truth, they they appreciate that. And
mm,
they just like have a lot of love. Like a lot of times after my Elfian Traveler Guide tells me what I need to hear and all of that, I'll say, thank you, I love you, I appreciate everything you're doing to help me. And that's like kind of that. One time I bought like flowers, and I had them in the house, and I called on the plant elementals, and they were just happy that I was connecting with nature. They're very much
mm.
like, they're just happy with the very simplest of things, and that helps you kind of become like less materialistic by having that.
Yeah, sure. That's cool. And we have a question too. It asks, how do the elves like, from Marie? How do the elves like to be honored slash thanked?
I think I kind of answered that.
Yeah, you kind of did. You're saying like
Oh,
inspiring people and stuff like that is
yeah,
stuff they like. And
they're
yeah.
very big on like telling you to like inspire, stay inspired, like inspire people,
Mm,
spread the light of the flower of inspiration. Another thing is they're also big on color frequency.
mm.
So sometimes each domain has a color frequency aura, and then the elders have a different color frequency aura. So sometimes, like for the elders, their color frequency aura that they associate themselves with is orange. So all seven of them. When
Mm,
I channeled them all for the book, and I was like giving them thanks. Like they got me to where I am right now, like what I'm doing. I'd light an orange candle and just say thank you and call upon that color frequency. And the color frequency elementals of orange would carry, the Elfian color frequency elementals would carry that thankful energy to them. And
mm.
that's another way that they like that. Very simple, very simple.
Aw. Um, that's cool. And I'm curious too, like as you've been working with them more, like how have you noticed like your own life change as you've been working with them, or like how do they help you like with making some of your decisions, or like do you go with them for guidance or stuff? Just how have things changed as you've worked with them more?
I I feel like I've completely changed. Like if I were to look back at where I was February 2020, that wasn't me. Like I was a very like
Or very different you?
egotistical. I want to say egotistical. That's what I
Sure.
was. And I didn't
Hmm.
understand my true authentic self. And slowly like I became like for a while I became anti-materialism. So I was like, I want to get rid of everything. And I was like, okay, I need some things. And
Right.
they would kind of guide me. The earth elemental domain is really like big on consumption energy and what's good to have, what's good not to have. So they taught me like what's good for you, what's not, what's good to have. Like my diet changed, the way that I carry myself in public changed, the way that I understand things. I had really bad anxiety, and even now I still sometimes have those like little like chemical reaction attacks, like
Totally.
yeah, but
Totally.
it's way less because I
Hmm.
understand what it is it's not from my authentic self. It's not from my highest self. Fear doesn't come from who you are. It comes from this lower polarity. So I understood that. I got clarity on so many things. I tried therapy a lot as a kid, and I didn't learn or change from that. I learned
Hmm.
and changed by working with them and understanding, because I was trying to change what was going on like in my physical form, what I was dealing with right in front of me. When you realize you're Akashic, your past lives have an influence on you, the
Yeah.
things around you. If your mental body is out of whack, then like things won't make sense to you. You have to bring clarity and alignment. Understanding the chakras, like I understood so many more things. Like I used to like hear meditation and think you would sit cross-legged and go because that's what you think. But
Yeah.
they taught me that that's not what
Hmm.
it is. That meditation, I can go on a walk and focus on nature. I
Hmm.
can look at the moon and appreciate everything that nature provides for us. They taught me like weather is how the earth communicates, how Gaia sends us messages, and what each type of weather means in each season has an effect on. So it completely changed my life, completely changed the type of people that I have around me, completely changed who I am around people, and for the better, because it helped me understand myself. So
Hmm.
that helped me identify that like who I am, Castalia, in the physical form, isn't who I am all the time. So they
Yeah.
help me understand that, and they almost never refer to me by my name. They'll refer to me by like little nicknames that have to do with my soul star origins, or a lot of times they'll just call me communicator. They'll just say,
Hmm.
"Hey, communicator, like I want to tell you something." They will never refer to me by my ego's name because they don't want to give it power. But I also learned how to take away that power that you can give to the ego by giving it too much of an identity, which helped me really like become myself. It's
Yeah.
it's really like strange. Like I haven't really like thought about it until right now how much I've changed over the past
That's
few
really
years.
cool. So you've experienced a lot of growth and
Yeah.
a lot of benefits since you've been connecting with the elves. Yeah, and I also want to ask too. Kim asked too. I think this is a good question. She asked, so does everyone have an elf guide? And she then asked too, and do we simply call upon them to start getting to know them better?
Yes, everyone has a guide. They are also sometimes referred to as ascension guides. So if you have connected to your spirit guides and there's this energy coming forth that's telling you I'm your ascension guide, that's also their Elfian traveler guides. It has to do with like soul contracts. So sometimes they won't step forth in their full self, and they'll be like they'll put a filter like for you, depending on what level you're at in your development or what's going on, how they present themselves to you can be different. And everyone has one. You can call on them by simply asking, go into a meditative state and just ask. I ask my Elfian traveler guide to present themselves to me, to identify their name, what divine energy they radiate, so masculine or feminine. And the best way to make sure that that's them, you want to ask. So once they introduce themselves, you want to reiterate, so this is who you are. You're a being of light and love. Make sure you do a protection before you ask, because there can be imposter energies. So you want to make sure you're protected. You surround yourself with divine light and love. You ask, your guardian angel to protect you, archangels of protection to protect you and keep you safe. And then you'll want to like make sure, because they're very honest and you can tell very well if there is an imposter energy. And I've
Mm.
experienced that, not necessarily with the elves, but like, like those psychic attacks where imposter energies will come through. You just test them. They're beings of like not light and love, can't lie in the presence of light
Yeah.
and love. And we are light and love. So you want to make sure that you're getting your Elfian traveler guide always. And
Hmm.
you're always protected when you connect. And slowly, as you start to work with them, they'll come to you if they have a message to deliver to you. You'll start to develop that relationship with them. And everyone's relationship is different. My Elfian traveler guide showed himself as like in my dream, big face forward. I saw it and it triggered something within me. Like, I know this man, like I don't know who you are, but I know you. And
Mm-hmm.
I need to know why. So everyone's relationship's different, but you can always start with that simple, like meditative practice to get to know them.
And do you think too, because I feel like with the people I've worked with, and even kind of for myself, that when people ask me like how to connect with their own spirit guides more too, that um, especially if you're just starting out and you haven't really explored this before, like it's hard to feel like it's real or to like know like what's what or like what is one of my guides or what is like my elf coming forward and like what isn't. So I'm just curious kind of like what your take is on like how as someone's starting out like communicating with spirit, how they can feel like they um, I can kind of feel confident moving forward or feel like, oh yeah, I am connecting.
I would say I learned, and this from the elves, I asked them to introduce themselves when they step forth, and I tried to get to know them.
Hmm.
So I'll get to know my guide because they're all different souls who've experienced different things. For example, everyone has a messenger guide that will appear as messengers of the veil. So like a hummingbird, dragonfly, small bird, etc., ladybug. I think actually that's it. I have to double check, but they'll step forth as that energy, and they're like the guides that will deliver you messages, help you understand what communications are coming through. A lot of times they'll appear in your dreams as saying that there's a message from spirit. Maybe you had a loved one who passed on, who you have that ancestral connection, they have a message to deliver to you. With like those ones, I call on that guide. I got to know that guide very well, you know, his
Hmm.
name, what energy he radiates, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I have him present whenever I connect to, and him and my guardian angel. So you get to know your guardian angel too. I like start with those two first, have them like come forth and protect you. But if ever you're feeling like shaky and scared, and because my mom's an angel Reiki master, she says to call on Archangel Michael. That power and that light of what that archangel is, of what he is, nothing can imposter that. Or you can call on the light of God, the golden Christed light as well, the golden rays of Christ, to be with you, to shine light on the truth. And if you are feeling doubt, there's maybe two possibilities. One, it's your intuition telling you maybe this isn't right, or it's your
Mm-hmm.
ego trying to confuse you. So you have to see, where is the doubt coming from? Is the doubt coming from a place like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe this isn't a right connection. Let me go and try and like see if I can reconnect from a positive, higher place. Or is the doubt coming
Mm-hmm.
from, I'm scared. What is this thing? If it's coming from a place of fear, that doubt's trying to stop you from continuing the connection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I feel like what's been helpful for me, I guess, is just practice. Because I mean, in practicing, and then like when I've given messages for other people, and like being able to see when it lands and when it doesn't, and then kind of being able to fine tune or see like, oh, okay, so maybe when I was connecting like that way or with that energy, that wasn't as helpful. But when I really felt it more like this, then yeah, it was really flowing and just kind of the trial and error and trial and success. I feel like for me that's kind of what I recommend. Um,
Yeah.
but I'm curious too. I want to ask you as well about because you had mentioned your book a few times. So share with us like about how that came about and maybe just like the book writing process and like what's all in it. Like what's the book like?
The book is they call it like it's kind of their
And do
introduction.
you happen to have one laying around that you, oh yeah, cool.
It's right here. I keep it right over here.
Nice.
Here it is. And the
Yeah.
pictures are like, let me see. Actually, I'm curious which picture will like pop up first. Oh, the source. Okay. So, you know what
Oh,
the
very
pictures look like.
nice.
So
Mm-hmm.
this was a very strange process. It's their introduction, and they know that they're gonna want to like go deeper more. And originally we started off trying to develop cards of them, because like I'm really big on tarot cards. Like how I developed my intuition and my ability to understand, spirit and messages was through doing tarot cards, oracle cards, things like that. Really, and I still do, and I still read them all the time and read them for people. Like I still enjoy doing that. That's how I learned it. So that was kind of what I thought the best route would be. And, they'll work with me with whatever I think the best route is. They still want cards. So that's like definitely in the future.
In the works.
But this introduction is each elder steps forth and just kind of gives a little summary of their story and a summary of their domain. And they also included a section. They each wanted to include something else they wanted to elaborate on. So we have the truth about Santa, because these are elves. What the experimentation was in Atlantis, like a summary of that, because that affected the fall of Atlantis, and they talk about the rise of the next golden age a lot, things like that. They came forth. I tried to write it from my understanding, so I tried to sit down and I remember it was in October, and I was like, I'm just going to explain it how I understand it in a book. Okay, try. My ego was trying to filter because I was reading. I'm like, this isn't working. When I made the decision that I was just going to channel them, that happened the same day that I made a call to the publishing company that I self-published with. They, called me back, and we, started creating a plan. It was the day that I decided that I was just going to channel them that started to work out. And then they came through, and like when I channel them in the written format, I just hear them. Like they don't step through. They don't know how to work human things. Like they couldn't type. The only noise that I hear in my head is them. And I just type exactly what I'm hearing. And they use my vocabulary to express themselves. So if they're trying to like express a certain word or talk about something that like it's not in my vocabulary, they'll have me like look, and my like Google search history is like really weird, like what is this thing, like trying to like type how they're explaining it to me so that I can get the word in my vocabulary so that they can use it when they speak. So
really
it was a lot of that, and that was definitely part of the process. With the illustrations, that was a process as well, because originally I was like, it can be sketches. But then I was like, it needs to be these full bleed images because color is a big thing in their domain. And part of also expressing their truth and clearing miscommunication is showing how they appear, how they look like. To show like, okay, they're not like these little tiny things running around. Like this is the animal healer elder. And like they also like pick like what they wanted. So they gave me a description. Like I know how they appear and how I see them. They gave me descriptions, and I wrote them down, gave it to Tina, who illustrated it, who's the healer of spirit, who's also my mom, who pieced it together. But it was actually way easier working with her as an illustrator because she understands how I describe things. So
yeah, right.
If give my description to like a legit illustrator that I hired, like they might not understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She understands how I speak, so that way it made it easier to express this. But it was a process. I would say the one that took the longest was, and it had to be like just right. And like I know she started having dreams, like seeing their faces everywhere and starting to like kind of see them a little. This guy here, the No Man Joybringer Elder, this little guy, it took him a while. He took a while to get done. I remember that. We had to like get it just right. The illustrations, I finished channeling the book and like had it edited and sent it to like check through like grammar and things like that, because like when you're typing things that you don't check grammar, and when I was younger, I wasn't really good with grammar anyway, so I had to like get that checked through. I was pretty much done with all of that, and then like we still had a few illustrations that weren't done, so the illustrations took longer, and once they were done by March, they got published. So it's been published for 3 months tomorrow. Speaking of dates. But that was, so I think I finished fully like channeling it and editing it by January, and the illustrations took a few more months. It was very quick when you're channeling text. Like I spent more time trying to piece together like the back of the book, like the most
The
the back of the
description to
book.
put up there,
Yeah,
yeah.
I had a harder time piecing that together than I did channeling the entire thing.
Well, you're
Because
right, because when you're channeling it, you're just like letting it come through,
yeah,
and you don't have to like fiddle around with it, or like how can I
mhm,
say this in a different way, or
yeah,
you just kind of let
they
it be as it is.
yeah, that's why on the inside it says channeled by. It doesn't say it on the cover, but on the inside it says channeled by. I requested that it says channeled by because I just
Mm,
was the vessel for what they had to say. It
yeah.
wasn't like the only parts that were me were the parts where the communicator introduction and the communicator conclusion. That's the parts that it was me. I was speaking and like introducing the story and then like okay, from here on out it's them. It's them expressing like
Mm,
their like how the creator of our system created the Elfian realm. Like that's like the origin story of them. Like that's them getting a chance to express that I couldn't like even comprehend at first what they were talking about. Like I
yeah,
comprehended some of the stuff reading it back while checking the editing. I was like, "Oh, that's what you meant." But at the time when it was coming through, I didn't fully understand it. And I guess
that's
I wasn't
fair.
supposed to.
And what is the book called too? What's the
The book is
title?
called The Untold Story of the Elfian Realm, and it can be found Babola Press, which is a division of Hay House. So you can find Babola Press by typing it into Google or going to Hay House. You can type the title into Google, also my name. The links for it are on my website. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc. All of those places you can find books. I know that like basically any place that uses I forgot what it's called, but the original publisher is Babola Press and all of the other places that like resells them basically. So Amazon, Barnes and Noble that resells the book from Babola's warehouse.
Right on. That's so awesome. And like, was it an enjoyable process then bringing forth the book? Because I feel like that's quite a feat to pull off, and like quite a process. Um, so was it a fairly smooth process? I know you kind of talked about like the writing was quicker and easier, and the illustrations took longer. But
I would
yeah,
say that the hardest part was because I made the call before I turned 18. So I made the call like I think a few days before my birthday. I that was the hardest part. I'm this little 17-year-old like kid.
oh, to
I'm
call them up
making a
and
call to try and publish a book. I don't even think that they really knew my age until like we started getting further along the process where I like gave them my birthday information, things like that. Like, oh, like this is a younger person doing this.
yeah,
That
but that's
was
so awesome.
scariest part for me. And I
Hmm.
felt like when I made the call, I knew that I trusted Hay House because I get my oracle and tarot cards from them. So I was like, Babola, okay, I trust them. And I trust that they're gonna
Yeah,
when I'm saying I want to publish a book about elves, they're not gonna be like, what are you talking about?
yeah, yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay,
That's up their
okay,
alley.
it's up their alley. And I felt safer, but it's
Hmm.
like when I made the call, it was like someone else was speaking through me, like an elf was like, let me take the wheel and do this. And I felt very confident in that decision. And I spent like a lot of dedicated time working on it. It was when it finally got like published and it was out there and available and I typed my name into Google and that's what started to come up. That was very very like
Yeah,
wow.
I bet that
When
feels rewarding.
it felt very great when the elves started to step forth more and people started to see them more and people were like in guided meditations now like oh this being is stepping forth an elf. I like my heart like I started crying and I was doing
Hmm.
them I was like doing the meditate I started crying because like people are seeing them for who they are and the more that people see them the more that they can step forth and you can communicate with them more and get to know them more and that joy that I feel that I've done part of my mission in this life is like emotional. It's a very emotional process and then the more that people want to connect to them and hear from them and I started to do like recorded channelings and I actually recorded my first like full step through trans channeling and I was still learning it. Like if you scroll my YouTube channel, like you can find the very first one and it looks very different from how I do
Hmm.
it now. They're still learning.
I feel like I can totally relate to that. Yep.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
whole thing. And once you like you now I'm very comfortable in it, but it's still learning because you still learn
Hmm.
more things. And like a lot of people ask about their star origins. So that like process, people are starting to understand where their souls came from. That is like a great gift to me that now I can help people get a similar experience to what I did when I start to understand like all of these things. It was a very like I didn't know what was going to happen, but they picked the date. They knew they wanted it after the Lunar New Year to come out. Like they go by the moon. They talk about the moon a lot. They go by the moon calendar.
Sure.
And that was a very like wow. This is real. And I didn't feel it like this is real for me. Like this is something that's like assigned to my name. This is one of the first things like I do with my name. It felt real in the sense that it's so real for them and they've been waiting for so long. So I was more happy for them than I was for like this is going to change my life too. I just didn't think of it at the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned channeling too. Would you like to bring the elves forward here now and kind of see what kind of group message they have for all of us here and what they would like to share?
Yeah, I can.
Cool. And then two, if you're watching and you have a question that you'd like to ask for the elves as well, that's like general and able to be applicable to everyone, feel free to type it in the chat, and if it feels right, I'll ask the elves your question. Yeah.
So I am going to start with whenever I don't know which one wants to step forth, I actually reference the book a lot. So I'll like
fine.
open it and see which one comes through as first. All right, the source. The source of the realm. And I had a feeling that he was going to want to step forth. And like I'll start by saying all sources, so even our source they're all divine masculine energies because they like create. And actually the hardest one to learn how to channel was him because it's a foreign source. Like this is a source of a whole other realm. Stepping into my physical form. It was very, very weird. But now that we got it, like he comes through a lot.
Right on. Right on.
The source of the Elfian Realm, I ask you to step forth and communicate. Hello, beautiful collective. I can sense a lot of people starting to connect to my realm. This is a truly beautiful feeling. Hello, Graham. You've connected to our realm too. Yes, yes. I do have a message to share. I thank you all for being open-minded. I know that it's hard to silence that voice in your head that's telling you that this is all crazy. So I appreciate it. And you are an inspiration to me, all of you who step forth and start to silence the ego. It is the realm that spreads inspiration, but when we are inspired by the works of humanity, that is a truly wondrous feeling to feel. And I'm truly blessed to have this time and this space and the ability to communicate with all of you, and that my realm can step forth and start to do more of its work. And before I continue, I want to ask, do you have any questions right now?
Yeah, there was one question asked by Marie that she says there's a lot of beings that help her when she does Reiki and shamanic sessions, and the elves and pixies are very consistent in coming to help. But she says they seem elusive when she tries to get more information about them. So she's wondering if there's any suggestions about kind of connecting with them more and getting more information from them.
I cannot speak on the pixies as they are from the fairy realm, but I can speak on the elves. And if you're doing healing sessions, then the elves that are stepping forth are healer elves. And a lot of the elves from the healer domain, they come for the purpose of helping to heal. And getting to know them on a deeper level can be harder because they're very one-track mind and doing their job and getting done. I would start by trying to connect to the elder if you can of that domain. If you're doing healing work and you're a healer, connect to the head healer, the head Elfian healer, elder of that domain, and start to see what she can help with. And I can let her step through and communicate if you would like more deeply on that. Let me check the communicator. Yes, she'll let her step through. Hello, I am the healer elder of the healer domain of the Elfian Realm. And to answer your question more, you are working with healers, and all human healers work with our domain. You can simply start by asking questions that will be more favorable for them to answer. So you can ask them what body system elf is stepping forth, what chakra elf is stepping forth, how can you help me spread more inspiration. Start with those opening questions to get to know them. I can sense that with Reiki and that energetic healing, that you have a lot of chakra elves around you. So there are Elfian healers of the physical form and the physical body. And those ones would be from the seven chakra system, mainly, and a few, maybe 5D chakra system ones. You can start by asking them to introduce themselves by which chakra they are healing and why they are stepping forth to help. Because they can help you identify if one is stepping forth more dominantly, like the root chakra, for example. If one healer of the root chakra is stepping forth more dominantly, that means that there is healing from the root chakra and they can offer more guidance with that. So start to just be more gentle. They are very, I see them very like children, like my children. The way that they step forth to humans is very interesting. But you can call upon me for more help. And if you start opening the door by connecting with your Elfian traveler guide, they can open the door more for you to connect with the realm deeper. But as long as you're putting the energy out there that you want to get to know us more and get to know the healer domain specifically more, they'll start to step forth more. It's just a getting to know you process. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. I guess it is a little more broad in general, but I've been thinking more lately, just kind of like how can we know that we're maybe on track or on path in life, and how can we know, and how can we better like be more just like aligned within ourselves, and I guess living a more fulfilled and like happy life.
Yes, I'll let the elder of the traveler guide domain come forth. He can answer that question. Hello. Hi, beautiful children of the tree of life. I can help you with this question. Now, to know that you're on track, you can do checks with your guides to see what checkpoints you have coming up. You can connect to the warrior domain, and they can check and see where you are, what ley lines you're leaving, what imprints are leaving behind, etc. But generally, if you're feeling like, is this what my soul wants me to do, like your soul, you're like, it's this weird conversation to have where you've developed this middle conscience where it's like your soul, your highest self is your soul over here, and you have that ego identity and the relationships you've created with it, and you're in this middle area, a gray area, where you're trying to live authentically by your soul, but you have to kind of fit into the physical world to be able to help people and understand people more. So that area where you're feeling uncertain and unsure can be very, very hard to live through. But you can do simple checks with, am I consuming, whether it's mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever body system, am I consuming positive polarity things, gray area things, negative polarity things? Like what consumption energy is coming through for me? If you're constantly, for example, we'll use this one, yes. So if you are constantly going and shopping and shopping and shopping for material things just for the sake of having things, that's an ego desire. That's a pleasure of the physical form to just have things. If you instead change your mindset to, okay, I need this good quality shirt to last me for a good amount of time. I don't need to spend $100 on these like things that are gonna rip and fall away within a week. You have to identify, okay, do I need this or do I not need this? The simple need versus want is a very good practice. And you'll start to realize that the less you're focused on things like, what does my hair look like? Oh, I have to do my nails. I have to do this. I have to do that. How am I presenting myself to people on the physical form, on the physical level? You're trapping yourself more in the 3D world, and you're forgetting your soul is just using, we'll use a little theater terminology because our communicator has a lot of that in her vocabulary. You're just using a costume in a play that you're living in. This physical form is just one costume that you've had. You've had many, many in past lifetimes. So when you start to focus less on the costume and more on who's wearing it, more on your soul, leading a soul-fulfilled life. And you asked about joy, and the No Man Joy Bringer elder, he can answer more about joy. So I'll let him. Hello. Hi, beautiful people. I've been waiting to communicate. I love talking to all of you. Joy. I can help you with that. Yes. So for starters, do you feel balanced inside? Having a balance, feeling balanced in your 5 body system, feeling balanced in your chakra system, healing, understanding your akashic body, understanding your inner child, understanding what brings you joy, and understanding what is temporary joy that just gives a boost of feeling happy versus what is genuinely happy. Example, temporary joy is eating cake. I know that brings humans happiness. Eating sugary things. Yes, we all have sweet tooths. Yes, versus when you eat an apple that is sweeter, it has sweetness to it, you feel fulfilled, you get those nutritions, and that can bring some happiness to you as opposed to just sitting and eating cake. This is not me telling you to eat healthier. I'm not the earthy and elemental elder, but that is an example of it. Also, laughing. For example, when you're truly laughing and you're remembering a happy memory and you're sitting and laughing with those that you love and having true fun, and you're not focusing on your human gadgets and what that, and you're just having fun living in the moment, have more of those present moment awareness in your life, not worrying about the future or the past, just being in the present moment. Dancing, singing. We love to sing. We really, really love to sing. And if an animal healer elf comes through, they'll come through and try and sing through our communicator. They love to do that. We love to have fun like that. Try and bring that joke, have fun, this, that, but don't hurt people because you think it's funny, this, that. There are certain things that your ego finds funny that you think this brings me joy, but does it fulfill cosmic joy in your heart? Truly deep down in your heart and in your soul, you have to identify those things. If you don't feel inspired by the work that you're doing, then that's not bringing you joy. So find something that you feel inspired every day and you bring joy and light into everything. And the biggest thing is helping others. We notice that you humans get a lot of joy from just seeing each other smile, making someone else happy. Just a simple act of kindness brings you joy as well, because that's how you humans are created. You're created to create life, but also to create relationships within that life. And that can bring joy, truly positively inspired relationships. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and that answered a lot of other cool points as well. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd like to ask another question too about I guess kind of about like emotions and how like what is the best way to kind of navigate or like work with our emotions, like things kind of like maybe sadness or feelings of like depression or anxiety, stuff like that. Like what's the best way to kind of work with them and integrate them, and I guess like move through them um, in a positive way.
Yes. There are a few Elfians that can answer this, and since they're all trying to come through, I'll just ask them to tell me, and I'll communicate it to you. As joy is the most joyous emotion, isn't it? Yes. So the emotional body healers are saying very clearly and dominantly that any lower frequency emotions, and we have actually a formula that I helped develop with the chief warrior to identify connections and relationships, and I believe that it is in the text that we communicated to all of you, this formula to apply the concepts of the 7 deadly sins to relationships and to situations. And those things like, is this thing making me feel like, am I feeling so prideful and boastful and egotistical? Okay, maybe that's not so good. Okay, no. Anger, are you feeling very anger? Is a certain relationship dynamic, you're just feeling anger? Are you feeling angry at yourself? And if you're feeling angry at yourself, there's a part of you that has this like feeling like, okay, this is may not be the right thing, this might not be the right thing. Like, are you listening to your inner voice? A lot of times, and we've noticed
Mm,
this with our communicator and other people, that you'll get angry at yourself for decisions that you made that hurt you, because you're starting to understand, like, how could I let this happen? But you have to
mm,
start to release that and forgive. And we tell people to learn to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself, because you can say, I forgive this person for what they did to me, and I forgive myself for anything that I did to them. And cutting those cords. A lot of people who feel depressed, it's because their energy is being drained so much by other people, by other factors, by this, by that. Just cut cords with anything you think, any person, any situation that you think may be draining your energy, and see how you feel. Because with depression, when we see that energy around a soul, it's because their energy is being drained so much, because when humans feel depressed, they feel like not so fun, they don't want to live. It's because their life force, their energy, their solar power from their solar plexus is being drained. Their inner strength, their power is being drained away and given to this, given to that, given to that. So they don't feel like they want to continue, because they're missing pieces of their soul. So you want to cut those cords, cut those negative connections, and honestly, just cut all. You start by cutting all cords, clearing the slate. Just say, I'm cutting any cords that have any negativity. Once you heal and grow, if you cut like a bunch of negative cords with a person, but there still is a possibility for a positive connection, that will come back to you. Just start by clearing the slate, cleaning the slate, and just starting fresh, so you have the ability to heal yourself without giving energy just because you think something has potential of being better. Does that make sense? Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So
Hmm.
with feelings like anxiety, and we work with this with our communicator a lot, and she's giving
Mm,
us permission to communicate this, is anxiety is a very, very tough subject, because with it creates a chemical reaction within you that your physical form almost gets addicted to. That feeling,
mm,
that adrenaline rush of, I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling anxious. So releasing that chemical reaction is hard to do. It is, and it takes a lot of practice, and nobody's perfect at it. And it takes being in the present moment and being like, okay, this just like taking deep breaths, starting it, and it's easier said than done, and we know this because we witness it a lot. We witness it in all of you, and even in animals too. Animals get anxious a lot as well, and it's just the energy of the earth. A lot of times people who are highly empathic, highly sensitive, they'll start to feel anxious a lot because they're picking up a bunch of people's emotions, and you'll be surprised how many people live with anxiety and don't know it, and they're feeling anxious all the time, but they're not necessarily, you can't see it physically on them. And somebody who's highly empathic will pick up on it and start to feel it. So you'll have to also set protections for yourselves. I'm protecting my energy. Nothing can access me without my permission. I'm protecting my empath ability. Whether or not you have one, you won't know unless you put that protection, if you don't ask to get to know that. See if that helps you.
mm,
Another thing with anxiety, and anxiety is a very deep thing, is there are lunar children and solar children, who other souls who are very trapped in negativity will try and like pick up on their energy, and they'll attract a lot of narcissistic people, and people who will try and manipulate them to take energy from them, and that can cause you to feel anxious and depressed, because your soul is feeling like, oh, is this person gonna take my energy and do things to hurt me and drain my energy away from me, or do this or do that to me. That can make you feel very paranoid about
mm,
things. You have to learn how to really protect your energy and heal anything that makes you feel that way. So if you're feeling paranoid, I challenge you to really try and identify, where did this paranoid thought originate from? Because with humanity, it all has to do with relationships to other people at the end of the day, and then that affects things. And then you could even have manifested a physical ailment to your body. For example, you experience heartbreak, you could manifest a physical ailment of, oh, I can't breathe, I'm having like trouble breathing a lot, and because you're suppressing that pain. So learn how to identify that. It's really getting to know all of these things, because you all have a power, but very powerful, to create life and to give life to things. So are you giving life to a reality that isn't the true reality? You have to identify that, because you have the power to create in your own mind false realities that aren't really there, based on negative emotions and negative polarity things, and pain that you've experienced. So it's a lot of getting to know this and that. Just know that you are the children of the tree of life, meaning like we are the beings of the flower of inspiration. We spread inspiration. You're the beings of the tree of life. You create life. You give life to things. You can give life to a paranoid thought or anxiety or a phobia or a fear. You give more life to it the more you feed into it and the more you create it in your own mind. You have to learn how to create a reality where you feel peace. And it's a practice. It's a really, really deep practice, but it's beneficial in the end. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that gave us good insight, I feel. So thank you so much.
You are welcome. Is there any other questions before we turn it back to the source?
Yeah, we do have another question. And this is from Kim. There's a few different components to it, so I'll just ask it as it's written here. So Kim asks, what are their thoughts on manifesting? Is it more about, what are their thoughts on manifesting, or is it more about helping others? And she asks too, is it like that the positive energy that's received from helping others alters our perceptions? So we end up actually manifesting what we want? And she asks like something similar to good karma. So it sounds like, yeah, she's asking about like manifesting and helping others in karma in a sense.
Yes, I will let a cosmic abundance elemental step forth, divine feminine energy. She's going to step forth and explain that more because they work with manifestation. Hello, hi. Okay, manifestation. So every human soul has the ability to manifest. There are some souls that have higher manifestation abilities, and actually, this kind of relates back to your other question that we heard. When you're in a place of fear, you actually can, and if you have like a high manifestation ability, manifest your fears around you that create anxiety about things, that can create. So we noticed it with our communicator. She had a really deep fear, and she was really manifesting them being around, that her fear being around her all the time, just manifesting everywhere, because she has a very high creation energy inside of her. And if you have a high creation energy inside of you, you might manifest those things. So sometimes if you're in a lower place, you're unknowingly manifesting. Humans unknowingly manifest all the time. So with negativity, there are negative manifestations that manifest themselves. Like, and you can take a couple guesses as to what they are, and we're not going to give power to their names, but people manifest them just by negativity. Like an excess amount of negative energy will create these negative manifestations, and whether that is a negative thought in your head or a physical thing that's not necessarily pleasant, negative manifestations happen. It's because you all create. With karma, you want to do a check-in and see how your past lives are influencing this life, and your most recent past life is influencing you the most. So if you, for example, didn't you were supposed to be a leader but didn't lead well, and then you come into this lifetime and you feel like your power is constantly being taken away from you, or things like that, that has to do more with karma. And that's not something you manifest, that's something you can heal and overcome. With karma in this lifetime, it's not necessarily a manifestation when you do something good or do something bad. It's more of, okay, this is the universe, like, okay, you did this bad thing, you have that energy around you of you did something negative, so now you're attracting negativity to you. You did something positive, you're attracting positivity to you. So if that's karma. I don't necessarily know how you humans define karma in that way. I'm a cosmic elemental, I don't come down to earth very often, but that's how that works. So whatever energy you're radiating, that's what you're attracting. So if you're staying in a positive light, that's the energy you're attracting to you. With abundance, a lot of people assume that abundance is money, money, money. Abundance is simply, if you have an abundance of positive light around you, you're going to attract positivity. So if you're in debt and you need money to pay off the debt, and that's why you need money, to pay off the debt so you can be free, so you can go travel and do things and explore and learn, or volunteer or help people, etc., then that money will start to find its way to you. But don't put a time limit on the universe. We notice you humans who start getting into manifestation do that all the time. You put time limits on everything. Like, I want this, and then. That's not how time works. You can't control when the universe gives you something. You can't control when you're ready for something. Just because you assume you're ready for something doesn't mean that you are. So you have to start to give up that control and just trust that things will happen when they happen. It's learning to trust. We notice that all humans have trust issues, and it's all of it. And some of you, some more than others, but we notice that. and learning to just trust the universe and trust God and trust all the realms, trust the dragons and the fae and us elves and the angels, learning to trust that things will happen when they happen. And all of that is a really, really big component. Another thing with manifestation is you can set intentions, but start to use the elements to your benefit. So learn how the moon can help you manifest certain things. The moon is connected to the cosmic heart, and it's also connected to the aquatic realm. So you can ask the moon to help you manifest positive, loving relationships from divine light and love. And those manifestations, you can ask the moon for help. You can ask the sun for help in becoming more confident. You want to become a confident person, a stronger leader. You're nervous about leading a seminar. You're nervous about leading a group of children or a group of people, being a teacher, etc. Ask the sun to help you manifest that reality and create that reality where you are strong and confident. For the aquatic realm, the water, there is a lot that the water can help you with, that you can call on the water for to help you manifest. There's a lot from the earth. So using the elements and understanding them to help you manifest. Candles, you can use candles and the flame and color frequency. So for cosmic abundance, our color frequency is a mixture of red and green. So you can take a red and green candle and you can light it. And fire is equivalent to action. So you can light those, write manifestations, and speak them out. The power of sound frequency, speaking things out. You maybe want to write your manifestation down and put it away and just, oh, okay. But the more power you give to the words of your manifestation, the better. That's why times 3, times 5, times all of those things, to just repetitively say, I'm surrounded by light and love. I'm surrounded by light and love. I'm manifesting a positive reality. I'm manifesting a positive reality, giving sound frequency power. And you can also ask us, the elves of cosmic abundance, or sound frequency, time frequency, if you want to give a general time constraint. So you're saying, I want to have I want to manifest $2,000 so that I can go volunteer to save turtles, or something in that regard. And you want to say by the end of the moon cycle, in August of 2023. You ask the time frequency elementals to work with that time frequency that you're giving it, and you're giving a specific reason, and why you should have this sent to you, but also putting in effort and work towards it as well. Manifestation isn't just sitting and hoping something's going to happen. You have to put in effort. You have to keep yourself in a positive light and love. You have to take opportunities. If you're given multiple opportunities, like, okay, someone's going to pay you to volunteer and do this or do that or do that. Someone's going to give you opportunities and they're going to pay you for it, but you're like, oh, I'm too lazy. You're turning down the universe giving you the opportunity to get the money that you're trying to manifest. So taking opportunities as well helps with that. So it's a really deep, more complicated relationship than just writing something down and hoping it happens. There is action required to it, because you have to create that. So also you can create it by, in your mind, taking a meditative state and visualizing, like, you want to manifest your dream house, the house you want to live in. You want to live by a lake, in a cottage, and have everything, like all of these gardens and this and farms and this. Start visualizing. Visualization helps with manifestation. So visualize the details. What color is this? What this? What that? Start to create it and feel it as if it is real. Like, I already have this. This is already mine. I am already living this. Just do it, and don't live too deep in it. 5-10 minutes every couple days, or once a week. Don't live too much in it, because you want to live in the present moment so that it can come to you. But take those times to create that, because you have that ability to create, humans. You forget just how powerful you are. Does that answer the question, do you think?
I believe so. I love how you touched on the action piece as well.
Yes. Any other questions that any of us can help you with?
Kim says, thank you so much.
You're
I think that is all the questions that we have here. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of everyone for having all the different elves come forward and just share their wisdom. If there's any closing messages you wanted to leave us with, and
yes, the source
thank
will
you
come
for your
back.
time.
Thank you. Thank you for being open to us. Take you back to the source. Hello. Oh, a lot of information. Yes, elves, we do like to talk. I am truly grateful, and I hope that if you have any questions in the future, that you continue to connect. I know you can connect to us anytime on your own or with the communicator if you would like. to hear. So we know that hearing things spoken to you helps you understand things more, and we know that. And we do want to say that we're going to send you all who are attending the light of the flower of inspiration, a little petal your way, so you can help inspire others. And when the petals of the flower of inspiration lead their way, lead you back to us, we hope that it leads you in a positive light, and we hope that you leave whatever connection you have with the elves feeling inspired and empowered to help others and create a positive reality. And we hope that one day, hopefully soon, the new golden age will be upon us and you will all be bringers of that new golden age. So stay inspired, beautiful, beautiful souls, and we will talk to you hopefully soon. Goodbye.
Mhm.
Wow. They smile a lot.
Sure, it's probably a lot on the facial muscles.
It hurts. Wow. They're very happy. I can feel that. Very happy and excited. Wow.
Yeah, so what's that like? What's that feel like for you while it's happening and now afterwards?
Afterwards, I kind of always feel this like around my eyes and face and nose because I like smile a lot. But it's a lot. Like I feel like okay, I got to ground myself back down. And typically,
Mm-hmm.
I'll like feel a healer elf of the Earth Star Chakra just kind of come and start to ground me, and I'll feel like pulsing in my hands, which I'm feeling right now. And how it feels like when the source steps through, I just see stars. Like they give like little visuals here and there, and I honestly don't remember half the things that they said because like they only have me hear certain things if they're like, okay, let's give her a little message while we're talking. Uh,
Oh,
but
so you don't remember a lot.
a lot I don't unless they want
Mm.
me to. So I mean, they touch on things like anxiety or things like that I can hear and retain if they want me to like elaborate or they hear this or hear that, or they are just wanting me to remember that specific thing. So a lot of
Mm.
times, like they keep my brain distracted, and I've been told by somebody that sees auras that they like see like my soul's aura like away from my body when an elf is stepping through and communicating, which I was like, I mean, I know that I step back and they come through, but that was very nice to learn that
Mm.
they when the healers step through, like I can see the domain color frequency, and I can also see clearly like the kind of like divine masculine, divine feminine. They have these like energy lights, color frequencies, and I learned from them like the energy of divine masculine and divine feminine is very different than we think.
Mm.
So like divine feminine is just intuition and spirituality and creativity. Divine masculine is creation and inner strength and that like communicator power. So you can sometimes like when the source steps through, like I feel like fully like the divine masculine energy, and I
Mm.
like afterwards I'll feel like ready to create it if a divine masculine energy comes out. Like I got work to do, I got this, I got that. Like let me go on a
Mm.
run. Like certain things will like leave you energized with that frequency. If a divine feminine energy ends, I feel very like very calm,
Mm.
very intuitive. So I like, go around someone and I'll be like, I can like pick up on a lot of different things. So they
Mm.
leave me feeling the energy that they are. With the
Mm.
cosmic abundance, when they step through, I felt it because I've channeled one of them before. This was a different one than I've channeled before, but like their energy is very distinct. The No Man Joybringer Elder, he comes through and he doesn't wait for anyone to finish. Like he's ready, and he'll come through and communicate. And I feel very like joyful, very and I see a lot of times I'll see like the joyful light. Occasionally when one's waiting, like kind of in the wings, I'll see their face like waiting, and when a question's being asked, they answer it like I can hear them answering it non-verbally, and then they
Mm.
repeat it.
Mm.
So sometimes I'll remember if a question's being asked, I'll remember that first like initial thing because they say it quietly as if they're saying it to me, and then
Mm.
they say it out loud, and so I'm hearing it twice
Mm.
almost. It's like reiterating that sound frequency, and they also have different dimensional frequencies. So the source is like very high. So like I feel very like elevated. With
Sure.
the No Man Joybringer Elder, there I let me actually check. because I don't remember entirely
That's a lot to remember.
which the No Man Joybringer. I'm trying to check. Okay, so there are 2 dimensions above us. That's what I thought. The No Man Joybringer domain are 2 dimensions above us, and the Elder is like a 0.5 more than that of each domain. So that I feel a little different. So I go from like the source, for example, who's high up there, and I don't even know how many dimensions that's higher than humanity. Dropping down to like the healer, then dropping down to the so like I feel that dimensional shift in my physical form. I feel that dimensional shift of, oh, we're going back to cosmic, oh, back down. Like I feel that energetically, and it's like this. It's like I'm constantly moving in like a like
Like an
the
elevator or
elevator,
something.
elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a roller coaster of some sort. I was trying to think like a roller coaster that goes up and down. I can't remember the name of it, but like I can see it in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
They show me a lot of visuals too, and they'll like show me someone like they were talking about a cottage. I don't know exactly what they were saying, but I know I was seeing a visual of a cottage by a lake with a farm, and I was seeing I don't know what they were talking about
Mm,
cosmic abundance, but it's a visual I was seeing. I was seeing it
interesting.
clearly as like day. So sometimes I'll like see images and I don't remember exactly what they said, and it's like a very weird thing. It just depends on who comes through, really.
Yeah. So it varies a lot. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's always a surprise every time.
Mm-hmm. And so too, as we're wrapping up here, where can people like find more about you or learn more about you if they're curious in connecting with you or learning more about you and the content you put out?
Yes. So on my website, the website is elfianrealm.com, www.elfianrealm.com.
Mm-hmm.
On there, I have everything linked. So I have my Instagram is castalia.nova.theo. That's my personal one. The one for the book and future works with the Elfian Realm. I like do more card readings and things like that on my personal one. With the
Mm-hmm.
elves themselves, it's elfianrealm.nova on Instagram. We're only on Instagram and on YouTube. Right now it's the Golden Lightworker, but it might change. I'm like we're
Oh.
changing some things. Like the name might change. We're changing some things.
Mm-hmm.
To kind of like keep people on their toes. Uh
Mm-hmm.
and I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else. I think that's it. Where they can find me. And on the website we have on for my page, I have a link where you can fill out a form. So, like, you go on the website, click Castalia's page, and there's a form you can fill out for a personal section with the Elfian Realm. Also, Healer of Spirit, Angel Reiki Master, my mom who helped me get here. The forms for a virtual session with her are also available on the website. So we have those for people to learn and work and learn more about different things. And there's more details like about the domains on the website because I right now cannot remember all the things that they do because they all do
That's
a lot of
fair.
different things. And there's 7
Mm-hmm.
of them and only a few stepped forth. So actually don't even remember all that stepped forth because the source kind of took control sending them through. I didn't have like a
Mm-hmm.
break in between. It's like, okay, now you step through. So I think maybe half of them came through. I did not feel a warrior come through. I felt one like speaking like to the Joybringer, but I didn't feel one come through. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very, very interesting. So you can learn more about them as well from that. And also the book is Babola, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, etc.
Yeah, the Untold Story of the Elfian Realm.
Yep.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today, and thank you everyone that tuned in and was watching. Yeah, this was really fun, and thank you for like being willing to just share what your experiences have been like, and give us all a little taste of the elves, and let them speak through you for a bit.
Yeah, thank you. This is fun. New experiences all the time. So it's really fun. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed sharing. Uh, once you start channeling, your throat chakra is wide open. You just love talking.
Boom.
So like it's like, okay, give me a forum to talk and I'll take it.
Right on. That's funny. Okay. Well, thank you, and bye bye, everyone.